Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're in. It's time for yet another matchup. Game number 3. This day is going by pretty fast, but we're all so super excited. Got Jess and Hap on the desk here with me. Both look at that, red and blue. Wonderful to see the coordination here. I got the brown, kind of a weird mix between the two. Doesn't say anything about the way that I commentate, though. I'm not going to bring that up too many times. Let's bring up the schedule for the day, and we can kind of go through things so far. We saw Navi and Virtus Pro taking W's today, 7-4 and 7-4. One against Empire, the other against Vitality. Next up, G2 versus BDS. We're going to bring up our roster, starting off with BDS, but let's just talk about them. BDS, hot off a 3-win streak, 7-1 each and every single matchup. Bride, amazing addition to the squad. Jess, fill us in.
I am so excited that we're seeing this version of BDS. Like you said, 7-1, 7-1. I mean, are we going to see that again today? That would be a huge shame because G2 have been doing so well themselves. So you guys can see the lineup there. Rafał, Bride, Renshiro, Alems, and Shaiko. So many big names in there. I mean, people are starting to now realize who Bride is and what opportunity and example he can set in the team, even though he's a support player. I mean, for BDS, this is huge. They've got support players who are topping the charts by far, so that's a big feat.
Well, on the other side, it's G2. We're going to bring them up. 2 ties, one win so far. No losses yet. Top 2 in Pro League, Season 11. That was only a couple months ago. They come in. They're ready for it. A lot of Monty play with the squad. Hap, fill us in.
Yeah, you're talking about these 2 draws to happen in. They might have wanted to close them out themselves, and well, we kind of see them as the team that should be the team to be able to beat BDS. The question is, will they be? We will soon. But it's going to be Pango, Kanto, Uno, Citizen, and Virtue. Virtue not really able to find his mark yet here in the EUL, whilst Kanto seems to be living up to old forms, like back from the good old days when he wasn't washed up, as he said himself.
If Kanto's washed up, I don't know what we are. I'll just get it out of there right now. But we have our head-to-head ready for you. So let's bring up 2 players, one from each team. That's our usual segment. Uno against Rafał. Jess, Hap, why specifically these 2? And what do we need to look at?
I mean, I guess I'll kick it off, and I guess the best way to look at it is, I mean, Rafał is a support player predominantly. He's a flex on attack, so he's one of the ones you can definitely compare with Uno. You can see that the rating more sided towards Rafał, and of course, he doesn't get as many opening kills because he generally plays flex flank hold, but you can see on the likes of Dokkaebi on Uno, that's a good comparison to make because you can still consider Dokkaebi a bit of a flex, but they're using her as an entry as well. So interesting to see how those ratios sort of play out for both of these teams. I don't know about you, Hap, but I think Rafał edges out just a little bit. You know, I mean, if you look at his cost, for example, he's got like a 92% or something like that. I don't know how Uno's rating there, but I mean, that's a good comparison to make.
I don't know his cost out from the top of my head, but Uno definitely been impactful. Not really the true fragger really on the lineup, but still able to get these openings time and time again. So proving to be important for the lineup, enabling the guys like Kanto to push through and eventually clean house. So
I want to focus on more of a point you were mentioning, Hap, is that you talked about G2 being maybe the team that stops BDS for the first time. Yeah. And for people that are out there that don't know what's going on, we'll fill you in. BDS played against Vitality, they played against Chaos, and they played against Secret. They played against teams that arguably have not had enough warm-up comparison to the others, aka playing against Secret and against Chaos. And you talk about Vitality, still a roster that from play day 1, we're not sure how to kind of get themselves in with the new 2 players, Rise and Fabian, on the squad. So right now, they're facing this full lineup that might be able to stop them. That's the reasoning behind these sorts of claims. We have our map bans up and ready for you. So let's put them up and see which map this game is going to be on. Again, 7 map pool. Ban, 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 ban. And Clubhouse is left. It reminds me of Bam Bam from Flintstones for some reason. But here it is. Clubhouse, super technical map. And it's G2 that had to pick again, Oregon or Clubhouse. People not shying away from it. Jess, Club, who does it favor?
Oh, I think it's going to be a bit of a difficult one. I think we've seen BDS do quite well on all maps, so it's very hard to say that they couldn't possibly transfer that over to Clubhouse as well. But I do favor the fact that G2 has worked heavily on their utility usage over the past, last season we saw them struggle with a lot of the utility moving people around in roles. I think they're more solidified now, so I think this is a great map to show which team's the best, because a lot of people love Clubhouse, so maybe we can just say this is where the champions really shine.
Psycho Pengu's in the room, Hap. Let's be honest. Let's just put it out there.
I mean, they are friends again. I mean, was it OJ Pair, and they managed to, they're friendly. So it's still a bit of a thing going around. People claim Pengu managed to ban him back then, but they managed to actually get along quite well. So it's still, of course, a bit of a rivalry to go through. That goes back a long way, all the way to Be Genius back then. So, we'll see who will be reigning supreme right here. Shaika not really in his top form, but neither is Pengu, so
yeah.
Okay, so that said, I am gonna ask for fewer predictions. So let's bring it up. We always want to see what you guys think about not only our production and what we can add to the stream for you, but also your social votes. Go on at R6 Esports EU on Twitter. Vote on every single match. 51% to G2, 5% on the draw. 4-4 for BDS.
You have to do it, don't you?
Was this done
on
purpose?
You have to do it.
Was this? I mean, look, if BDS can meme about it, everybody can. Let's just get that out of the way.
They had 44 times on 444 followers just recently, and they managed to make a meme out of it. So
very true.
That's a thing.
So I want to talk about your predictions, because now we know exactly which map we're going to play on. That's Clubhouse. Jess, how do you see this going? And score. Let's go quick.
BDS 7-4. I want to see it repeat throughout the day.
How?
I think it's smart G2 didn't go for a frag heavy map like Consulate or Coastline, and they're actually bringing it to Clubhouse and not taking the gamble. So I think G2 should be able to take it home right here. Maybe close to 7-5.
Okay, so we got all of that out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I will have to preface this for a second. G2 BDS. Will there finally be someone to shut down BDS? Will it be G2? Will BDS continue their reign of terror? 3-0, 7-1, 7-1, 7-1 so far in EU League. G2 need an extra victory. They were top 2 in Season 11, last Pro League season. Who knows? That's all into the game to show us. BDS versus G2 on Clubhouse. Big game tonight. Let's go in game.
Thank you very much, Mr. Milosh, and the wonderful gang over on the desk. This is a huge game, James. I think we've all been excited to this one as soon as we saw it laid out after Monday's games. At the minute, BDS are unstoppable, 7-1 over every opponent, but G2, they came into the season, everyone's saying this was the super team to beat. They've looked a bit shaky, but have still overwhelmingly come out on top, I would say. Clubhouse is going to be one for the ages, I have zero doubt, but I think it's fair to say, James, we aren't without our concerns.
Yeah, for sure. It is a historic match here between these teams, but we are a bit confused here that G2 managed to let Clubhouse through the map veto. It has been their insta-ban for the better part of 6 months. The only times they played it in the Pro League and at 6 Invitational, they got smashed. In fact, you might remember Reciprocity, now Oxygen, beat them 7-0 at SI on this map, and they also lost it to teams like Na'Vi in the Pro League just recently. So not historically a great map for G2, but they've maybe had a bit of a rework time to change their strategies, and hopefully they'll have something here, because someone has at some point got to stop BDS, right? 7-1, 7-1, 7-1. They can't just walk all over everybody. That's not appropriate. G2 are going to try and put a stop to that.
All right, so ban phase we are into. Let's see what comes out of this one. I would kind of expect to see a Monty man maybe banned away by G2. BDS, I think, like playing this roaming game. We've said in the first few games, all we've seen them do, except for against Secret on Oregon, is just terrorize their opponents continuously. So I thought that might be a thing. Now that ban, that just tells you what is to come. No. Monty is going to be on the cards, ladies and gents, and it is going to be all down to BDS to respond. We've seen a lot of Monty lately, and teams have struggled to adapt. The final ban comes as no surprise. BDS, a big fan of this one, my ban at the moment, to force ourselves away from playing into this very anti-grenade meta. My biggest concern here is this plays so strongly into G2. They've got the Monty that can't be stopped by the Legion, and there is not as much anti-grenade capability on the map with them and my being banned away. Dare I say BDS has somewhat played into this first half here.
Yeah, I really love that. And as soon as you mentioned the Monty, I was like, okay, BDS, instead of banning it, they're probably just going to play into countering it, probably bring Smoke, Lesion, maybe an Ella every now and then. But G2 is kind of telegraphing what they're going to do here by banning out that Lesion.
Ooh.
But funnily enough, despite that, it was Uno who picks the Monty, and he's not the Monty player for this team, it's Pengu. So he's going to switch over to the Sledge. A bit of a fake out here from G2, but likewise from BDS, getting rid of that Valkyrie and focusing more on the Goyo. So what's funny here is that from G2, we see them ban the Lesion, the counter to the Monty, and then actually fake out playing Monty, but get off of it. And then you see BDS playing that, banning that Wamai, which then maybe restricts a bit of that Goyo strategy, but then they bring the Goyo anyway. So both of these teams playing mind games right now.
This is the thing, right? Look back at the game earlier on between Na'Vi and Empire. Na'Vi on their attack started out with Monty in the first round. There was very little on the other side to shut it down outside of a Goyo. In the next round, we saw them switch over and bring the Lesion, but there was no Monty. And then the next round, Na'Vi brought the Monty back out. So it is constantly a game of trying to kind of mind game the other side here of when are we going to bring Monty, when are we not? Because when we do bring it, you best be damn ready because it can be so obnoxious to deal with.
Good shot there from Renshiro to take out Citizen's drone. Never underestimate how big of a deal it is to take out a drone, especially for a support player like Citizen. Well, I mean, he's not typically a support player, but he is playing the Hibana, so you'd think he'd be in a somewhat of a supportive role. But as for BDS, it's primarily an anchor strategy, almost a full turtle. You do see this little bit of a lick of an aggression from Renshiro on the main stairs, but he's in a very safe position, a very low-risk position to get back to site as needed. But from G2, I expect it'll be a map clear, followed by opening up the hatches and deciding where they would like to execute. But there's a lot of utility on site, particularly those Evil Eyes from Rafale and those Vulcan Shields from Alems that will have to be dealt with in the late round.
One thing that I'm worried about with G2 here is their drone work the other day on Cafe against Na'Vi wasn't the best, especially when it came to going through a full map clear, coming in from top floor, going all the way down to second floor, then ground floor, before pushing your way in towards the actual kitchen itself. And it often led to blind rushes in the dying 30 seconds or so that made life very uncomfortable for them. And I think if BDS can keep them at bay for long enough, we may yet see a similar outcome coming in. That being said, G2 have got the vast majority of their drones left alive. They've only got that one currently dead after about 70 seconds. So already a massive improvement compared to the other day.
That's the moto hatch opened. Citizen also going to open stock hatch. But that kitchen hatch is always the most difficult to open because of the possibility for an impact trick from below. That said, it's only Rafale who does have the impacts. He's currently playing in church, so he might not be ready if G2 go for it early on. The EMP comes out. That may have been to get rid of the batteries on the church wall. For now, there is quite a lot of presence here from G2 looking at blue. Maybe tempted to go for a drop, but it's very dangerous to do so. I expect G2 probably going to try and leverage the control they have of Moto and hopefully even get the hatch open in kitchen just for that added pressure. But so far, it's not very clear on where the push is going to happen from G2.
They've got quite a few playing out towards the east here, two members and a couple of drones being thrown down here to try and contest Shaiko. Tells you enough. I think that there is some desire to clear that one out. But there's going to be a kill in towards the Adam stairs here, which makes things uncomfortable. Citizen entirely by himself does have the hatch open, but with Shaiko playing down here, they need him out before they can try and go for this push. You might see a split attack coming with someone else trying to push down another angle. But for now, at the very least, blue is a point of contention. There is going to be a trade kill back the other way, so it's into a 4 versus 4. With only 30 seconds left, though, beginning to worry for G2.
It looks like it is an execute through church from the Moto side. With this pinch from Citizen, he has this control, as you said. The nade took out that player in blue. The plant's going down from Pengu, but Alems to retake this control. Can he deny the plant? It doesn't. Oh, failed to deny the plant at the last second. But the diffuser went down anyway, I guess, here. BDS are fighting back, though, and G2 are all cleared out of the bomb site. BDS say, look, you can plant, but you can only get one kill. This bomb site's ours.
Pretty much, there was a bit of a fight around blue there. Understandably so, when that's where the push comes through. And G2, like we mentioned a bit earlier in the round, will try and go for that split attention. I hope you're having fun, guys. He's like, I'm trying to be serious here and win the round for us, and you're just messing around in front of me. What's going on? But no, I think for BDS there, it was still relatively controlled. They were happy to play for the retake there with the frags coming back their way. And G2 slowed down. It looked like for the first 60 seconds or so, it was in their control that they were setting up to take over blue. Just took a little bit too long to clear Shaiko out from playing in behind Generator, and you saw the outcome of the round from there. We'll give them some lean, like I mentioned, though. The drones did prevail for a long time. They were around for a good while and had the intel going across. It was just that commitment to the execute that was missing in points.
I think it was the retake from BDS that really won that round for the defense, and in particular, Citizen getting taken out in blue was that super impactful kill. It gave BDS another avenue to flank on through. I didn't quite see where Rafael got that kill onto Pengu from. I assume he just came through that double door from the hallway into Church, and that does make you wonder, well, why wasn't there a player from G2 at the bottom main stairs? This is such a staple position to cut off all of those rotations. And I'm not saying there wasn't for G2, it's just obviously very, very difficult to know from our angles. And I mean, G2, they had lost that player, and there was a lot of still work to be done. So, oh well, all in all, great retake from BDS.
I think Rafael's kill came from all the way back inside Church. I'm not quite sure, but he was still on the stairs at the time, so it must have been a case of it being a nice long one all the way past Shaiko's head, connecting for a opening kill. It does take away some of the sting coming in from blue. So, let's see how round number 2 goes. We'll see if anything changes up here. G2, it's pace that I need to see here against BDS. We saw what happened when Secret played against BDS the other day. It wasn't too comfortable for them. They gave them a bit too much room, and BDS were happy to snap back aggressively. One of the comments that I gave at the end of the game was to watch how much BDS move when they're sat on the defense. They don't sit and hold a corner and do nothing. They will constantly try and push you and be aggressive. As you could say the same about Shaiko, they're running into where he clearly sees bullets aheading and goes, you know what, I can still get a kill here somewhere. It's like being in the Matrix. He weaves his way around bullets and somehow still manages to shoot back and often finds himself a couple of kills.
It's a very loose roam for Shaiko at the moment. Presence trying to keep the pressure on for the enemy team, and of course also roaming around Lounge. Like that barricade downstairs to make it so that Shaiko can rotate blue without being pressured so much from Arsenal. And for BDS here with the Maverick ban, possible that G2 will intend to clear below to take out that bandit from a Lems. Of course, there's still the opportunity for a Zephyr trick, but for the most part, G2 are really hinging on this master bedroom side take. It's fairly unusual, at least as your primary. Typically, you would see teams at least open up those kennels walls and then rotate through a contact.
Even more so with the Thatcher on side, because it makes it a lot quicker to get the kennel walls open, as you spoke about there. So I'm not surprised there hasn't been a focus with that, but I guess the prize are coming straight through construction. Maybe it's more of a reverse. You get construction first, rotate over, and then look to take over Kennel's wall, which would make sense. And you can see the shield being committed above the bandit batteries as well on the Kennel's wall, just to say, don't care if you've got a Zephyr here, you ain't getting this one open. Well, guess what? They probably are going to, because Virtue's here on the Thatcher as mentioned.
I think the idea here for Lems is to continue bandit tricking that wall. Of course, you can use the Zephyr's concussions to cancel the animation of that bandit putting down the util. I think that the idea here with the shield is that it prevents that from happening, but Lems does get that bandit trick down. Of course, for now, Pengu didn't try to get that thermite charge on the wall. Droned out now. The question is, will the shield do the trick at protecting Lems? And nade's going to go in, all right, interesting strategy, and Lems decides to back on off and instead try and retake downstairs. So BDS not overcommitting to that position, instead ensuring that they have presence downstairs, and Kanto is the one from G2 to meet that pressure from BDS, and it's actually a player on the lounge door that's going to take it out now. BDS with only 2 players left. 4 versus 2 for G2. They've got a lot of the steps they need, but Brigade on site to take down that player from Con. Really good positions here now from BDS. It looks quite good.
It does. I'll come back to the drones again for G2. There are barely any left alive, mind you. Not that they matter too much at this stage in the round when there are 20 seconds left, but Pengu should be finding his way in here to recover that diffuser and go for a plant. BDS have been all over the downstairs play. The vertical has absolutely been theirs, but with no C4, they've got to come back.
No way.
It's one upstairs. It's LM up on the stairs as well. Red stairs finds a triple. Can he hold this out for the team? No, he cannot, as that final kill comes across from Pengu. What more can you ask for from this man? In a 1 versus 1, he is the old reliable who will drag you over the finish line.
I got to admit, though, I was very scared there for Pengu for a moment. That bandit, Renshiro, was just so good. Managed to make that a 1 versus 1 from a 1 versus 3. So close, though, for BDS. I really like the decision there to abandon the bandit trick once they thought it was getting too hot and rotate downstairs for that vertical play. But G2 were just slightly more aware of that than perhaps I think BDS expected. Not only was there Kanto pushing in from stock, but also didn't manage to catch which player it was, but there was a player at the lobby door with another angle into lounge, and that crossfire really made it difficult for BDS to continue playing that vertical game to deny the plant. And eventually we were in a position where there are 3 G2 players who have the bomb site, both bomb sites I might add, and 2 BDS players who are off site. Now a great attempt there from Brigade to take out that planter, or rather the diffuser carrier, in construction and make it a little bit closer, but I mean, it all came down to Pengu locking that in a 1 versus 1, so good on him.
Sometimes that's all it comes down to, is who clicks first or who clicks last. That little snap, by the way, from Brede. Oh, it's gross. Dirty. You can see why he's been one of the top fraggers for this team since moving in from Vitality. And we touched on it at the time, at the very start of the season. He moved in as the only player on Vitality from last season being on a positive KD. And my God, was he positive, up there above plus 30, if I remember correctly. So needless to say, a very good pickup for BDS, and it has shone through in the last few days. Today, as we mentioned at the very start, is their big challenge against G2, though. And so far, pretty split between both sides. That last round coming very, very close down to it, I think. What'll be very interesting to see is when one side switches over to being on the... Well, when they switch sides, sorry, and we get to see BDS really open up on the attack.
Once again, Shaiko for a very similar roam. For the most part, BDS doing things fairly similarly. And Shiro roaming downstairs as well, just to prevent this lounge presence. You'll also notice BDS opened up low holes in the stock wall to bar to prevent G2 from safely entering stock, as Shaiko has his presence in bar to take out those players. But Uno on for the roam clear now. Being live droned ahead. Sneaky. He may well clear out these players.
Yeah, similar sort of spot here as well. Great angle being held by Lem. Normally you see a lot of teams make this about this small. I remember seeing an APAC being massive and I was like, huh, why is it so big? I'm not quite sure exactly why. I think it was for the variety of angles, but Lem's trying to hold, gets grenaded first, takes his eye off for just a couple of seconds and finds himself down. It will be the wall getting opened up, and Pengu is more than happy to take that free kill. A little bit of a misplay there from the Lem, not holding on to storage door.
Defender exposed. I think he tried his best, but the angle wasn't quite there for him. At least Shaiko does redeem his team somewhat. Now, Citizen had used most of his utility, but a kill is a kill. Shaiko, though, being hunted by G2, they're very much aware of his presence, so Shaiko will attempt to get back to site as much as he can. He goes back up the main stairs. No presence yet from G2 here on the con site and through Master, and that's typically where we would see teams put at least some focus, but for the most part, it seems like they're primarily going for Garage here. Rafal put under the pump. The nade's going to go over, but misses.
Cooked too much. Overcooked, some may say. I don't think that's onto anything, and they are really trying to get him out of here with grenades, but nothing's going to come of it. Shaiko strikes again and picks up a double. All on the roam as well, mind you, so the longer it's taking G2 here, the more damage Shaiko is dealing to the back line. Still trying to get Rafal out of Garage as well, but he's just saying, no, I don't need to move because you guys aren't applying the pressure.
Brede once again holding down the fort when needed, and Rafal steps up, quite literally, and Shaiko to find his third on the round. Very, very nice stuff here from BDS. I've got to say, credit to Shaiko. I know he kills on everything, but he always kept some kind of pressure on G2. I also want to point out Rafal there. The fact that he just laid down, stayed alive as long as possible meant it was very hard for G2 to find that opening they were looking for. G2 decided not to go for that master take as they did the previous round. They wanted to focus on Garage. And the most important thing there is taking out the player on Rafters, and Rafal didn't give them an opportunity. So really nice stuff there from BDS. Maybe a few missed opportunities from G2, but it is what it is.
It was rough because once they had that East Breach open, everything kind of froze for them. There was no big rotation over to get construction open. There was a bit of focus in towards Garage. And it's hard as Pengu because you're still on that breach waiting to push in, but you just can't go running in front of that window. If there's someone waiting inside red, you are in the middle of a horrific crossfire and you will surely be brought down. As you saw from the Maestro, you mentioned it yourself. Stayed alive long enough there that there wasn't really a problem to consider. A little bit slow on the uptake from G2, and I think that is the biggest problem for them. Again, the sort of thing that we saw against Na'Vi was waiting too late into the round to make anything happen. It was exactly an opposite story the other day when they played against Empire. They were very rapid on the attack, getting plants down inside 90 seconds in some of their rounds on Coastline. But here on Club, and this is kind of the fear that you had coming into this as well, and we spoke about it before, was they're coming to a map here that maybe doesn't necessarily play into their strength.
5 seconds left. I feel like G2 are definitely a team that can play that methodical playstyle, the heavy util that we like to see on maps like Clubhouse, Cafe, etc. But it is a bit concerning that they haven't played this map to any success recently, and it's their most banned map. So you're looking at what has G2 done to change things since the last time. Well, I guess they've made some kind of progress since 6 Invitational because they're not getting 7-0'd right here. But come on, they got to keep pace here with BDS. Now, for me, the thing that's surprising from BDS in this round is that they've picked the gym and bedroom bomb site instead of going back downstairs to Church and Arsenal as they did on the first round, as that was a flawless win for them. Or not flawless in terms of man count, but that was a win, in fact. They currently have an 100% win rate in this game on that bomb site, and it is unlocked. But they decided to throw off G2 a little bit. I like this thought process.
I really want to understand the thought process of why no Monty as well, given they've banned out for it as well. Even the bans coming out of BDS align pretty well to it. Why we aren't seeing it could be anyone's guess. You can see all the utilities starting to fly in, but they haven't managed to fully clear out the bandit batteries here. However, enough has been opened up, and they should be able to get the left one opened up in good time, inside about 60 seconds. That is good process, considering you're coming up against a Lem here, who was on the bandit against that wall.
Took a lot of utility, but they got the job done. And I believe Pengu still has both exothermic charges remaining. Uno still has one nade left as well. I know Kanto used a lot of his util and no doubt Virtue a couple of those EMPs. There we go. We have a look at it. Kanto has one stun. Oh no, sorry, one explosive left. I like the sledge pick here from Uno, despite them not necessarily knowing it would be bedroom. That'll deal with some of those castle barricades a little bit easier. And in fact, Pengu does have one exothermic left. For now, G2 looking to shift their focus onto logistics office. Sussing out the situation is Virtue. Typically, you see teams have some kind of cash attack presence. And while Virtue is watching the flank right now, I don't believe G2 are hard committing to this. Virtue gets that. And Shiro red there. Very nice stuff there for G2 to catch off that. And they're just relying on Citizen here to beat a pincer in through cash.
Think about what we've seen so far. We've seen Shaiko off on a roam for getting himself 3 kills in the last round. We saw them all charging downstairs when the breach got opened up when they were defending into CCTV and cash last. It's only natural you'd assume someone would go rotating at some point. So like you say, a really good read there coming out of Virtue to catch Renshiro off. And it does put G2 into a 5 versus 3. And the most critical thing, I think, the reason why they aren't bothering with putting any heavier attention in towards CCTV right now is who the hell did BDS roam onto? There is no one to kill. Everyone is outside the building right now. So Shaiko's got to sit inside of sight and try and fight this one out. How does he still manage to win this one out? He gets a kill for himself, the second one for Bride as Virtue drops in. Uno's doing what he can, and G2 will close things out here. For a second, it looks a little bit shaky, but those 2 big fraggers in Bride and Shaiko drop at the very last second.
You got to be scared whenever the clutch players are going up against Bride and Shaiko, 2 of the best players in Europe, if not the world itself. So good stuff there from G to close it out. And I got to say, getting that man count fairly early on. With 1 minute left, they were in a 5 versus 3 and that open jacuzzi wall. Now, they'd open up the wall onto kennels as well. So Citizen could deny that aggressive play from CCTV onto that balcony. But overall, I think that G2 had the ground that they needed. They had the numbers advantage. And even though Shaiko and Bride tried to fight back a little bit, it just wasn't quite enough. So I appreciate the risk that BDS took going to that bomb site when downstairs was unlocked. It didn't work. That's fine. Move on.
All about controlling the roam game. It's the most critical thing to remember against BDS is stop them running around the map like madmen. And you should find you're at least in a better chance of winning than if they were the ones coming up behind you, as we've seen out of Shaiko already. Downstairs once again, as you say. Let's not forget what happened back in round number 1. It was the Monty 6 pick away, kind of served as a bit of a bait and did see BDS changing away from playing on the Valkyrie to playing on the Goyo. This round, we're going to see it brought through pretty much by default. Anyway, there was quite a war over blue. They got that opening kill onto Citizen, I believe it was, up on blue stairs. So be looking out for that in this round. I guess for G2, it's the pace that needs to be seen on this attacking side. As mentioned a couple of times here, yes, it's all good containing BDS, but if you then can't either kill them or get the objective down, it's going to come back to bite you. Last time they assaulted here, they only found a single kill, and that was the one on storage stairs that we mentioned just a few seconds ago.
So for G2, what's the play? Likely to be very similar to the previous round G2 attacked this. So if they can be a little bit more efficient on their roam clear, you'll notice Citizen actually did not lose his drone in the prep phase this time. Only Kanto has lost the drone so far, and being the fragger, maybe that's not so impactful, not such a big deal. But you did mention Kanto was the first player to be picked, and that was pushing down those blue stairs. So, of course, G2 will have to be a little bit cautious of that aggression from those players on site. I like to see G2 go for a moto push and open up that church wall. With the thermite charge, I totally think there's a possibility here. Probably a bit safer than trying to go for a blue split push just into the doorway, because as we noted last time, Rafal was able to deny that diffuser plant, well, at least kill the planter after it went down, just by peeking in through a church. So opening up that extra avenue will really force these BDS players to be a bit more passive and perhaps expose them.
There's a call there to shoot out the top of Church Wall. Indeed, he shall. That's so they can C4 into the bottom of main stairs. Now that Moto is open, they're aware that there is likely going to be a push coming from somebody down these main stairs, and it's now a case of trying to find out when that push is going to come through. With Church Wall, often what you'll see is some teams bring along an Exothermic and some X-Kairos and look to open up two sides of the Church Wall at the same time, normally the left and the right panel, because it's impossible for a bandit to be in two places at once, so you will at least get something open. Right now he's looking to keep hold of the far right wall, the one nearest those main stairs, as that would open up a pretty uncomfortable sightline all the way through Church for the attackers.
Already we're seeing something slightly different from last time from G2, and that is Citizen to open up the kitchen hatch, and it looks like G2 is actually rotating for a kitchen side push. Pengu opening dirt now means that instead of going for a blue moto push into Church and execute, they're going for a dirt kitchen push into an Arsenal execute, and this may well catch BDS off guard, at least slightly. There is some utility over there for BDS, and notice a lot of holes in the walls between the hallway and Arsenal that BDS can use to deny that plant. Of course, also perhaps a few C4s in hand, and those Evil Eyes, which can deny plant in the dire moments. In fact, no, one C4 left for Renshiro, so that may well come into play if the execute comes down.
Udon almost losing his life there. I believe that's, I want to say it's upstairs. It's in a spot where he's got nothing. I mean, again, look at the drones on the side of G2. We're coming down to the execute and every single one is dead. I hate to keep on harping on about it, but it means they are playing in blind right here, and Pengu might find himself getting sprayed out. Do they even know? He's on the wrong side. He's baited them out here and drawn. Wow. Wrong side. Dezachu finds a double, but it's 3 versus 3 in this post-plant situation. We've still got some trying to push upstairs. Rafal pushes aggressively, catches G2 unawares, and now it's down to just Citizen and Pengu, the hard breaches of the team, to make the magic happen. Make it a 1 versus 3. It's 3 day on this smoke. No one can stop this man, but we know what Pengu can be like in a clutch. Sadly, it's not going to happen this round. And Shiro to bring him down and put BDS at 3-2 here after round 5.
Yeah, wow. Crazy stuff there for BDS. Once again, a retake successful, and in fact, it's the same thing that happened on the previous defense for BDS on that bomb site. A plant went down from G2, but BDS, they're happy to let that plant go down because they're confident in their retake ability. In that situation, we were at a 5 versus 5 with 23 seconds left. Now, I mentioned how G2 had opened up using an exothermic charge from Pengu, the dirt rotate, but they didn't decide to push through that. Probably a smart idea since it was a smoke player in there, but that meant that the smoke Brede had that control, had that power position in dirt right up until the end. And while that didn't deny the plant, as you mentioned, Pengu went for an off plant, something we enjoy seeing from him over the past few weeks in EUL. It meant that BDS still had these power positions for the retake, and because it was a 5v5 when the plant went down or nearabouts, it meant that BDS definitely had the numbers for that retake as well. So overall, really good stuff for BDS. I've got to credit G2 though. They've successfully planted on Church and Arsenal twice, but they're just losing out in the retake scenarios.
Definitely kind of a retake of nothing else for BDS, right? Like, they don't seem too phased by letting G2 inside a site because they're then happy to push out aggressively, like up main stairs, for example, and catch out those that are still remaining. So it's one thing to worry about, I think, is when it does come down to these executes, they are fast plants coming out of G2, sorry. They're smart plants. I love how it was against the hallway wall there in that round, because what we've seen coming out of G2 on Villa the other day was they're very smart 2 versus 3 with Pengu and Citizen managed to push their way inside of Aviator and plant in a slightly unconventional spot. Come off the plant for a second, spray someone in the head, then straight back on the plant again. So we know they're very good and smart about where they put down these plants, and this is all down to Pengu's reliability in these situations. Does a wonderful job of it. The thing is, they just can't hold on in the post-plant situation. Let's see if they can make this 3-3, because that would be a prolific result for G2 to come out with 3 rounds here on the attack against BDS nonetheless.
Couple of love taps there for LMs. Will Uno see this Valkyrie camera? The black eye, surely that'll get spotted out. What I was going to mention here is a couple of changes from BDS side in terms of the operators. Bringing that Valkyrie for one, but also no bandit anymore. So they've decided, look, this bandit trick ain't working. Let's abandon it. I also want to point out here that G2, they banned out the Legion. Our theory was that they weren't going to abuse that Montagne, as we've seen from them before, and Vitality as well last week on this very map. But that's all 6 rounds of G2's attack, and 0 Monty picks. In fact, they have brought the exact same 5 operators on the exact 5 players every single round of this half.
Yep. It is kind of a standard lineup, dare I say, for Club, though, right? You need at least 2 hard breachers. Sometimes teams will bring 3. I personally think 2 is enough, especially when you have a Thatcher on side. You need some ranged soft destruction to remove things like the Evil Eyes or the Shields, in which case that's Kanto and the Zofia. And then normally you'll see a sledge being brought along as the final one because every single site in this map has some use for it. You saw earlier on Gym and Bedroom, you were like, oh, the sledge being brought along here to deal with the castles. Absolutely. They were fearing it was going to go downstairs, but making sure they had that on side either way was going to be good news for them. Interesting there, the second Exothermic got used on the smallest part of the wall, but it's going to be a bounce back from that grenade. That is unfortunate. Down goes the grenade. Red kills someone at the back of it, I think. No, they shan't. As Bride charges forward, Kanto will find 2, but it's a 3 versus 3. Def with still a minute and 15 to play.
I guess they have time going for them, but all this team utility here. Kanto concusses Virtue there on the Kennel's balcony. Now, Kanto does have an explosive. He can make a rotate in the soft wall to his left. But no, he's just going to send that towards top red. I don't know whether he intended for that to be a concussion, but nonetheless, he regroups with Citizen. Now, Citizen does have enough X-Kairos to make a rotate here into the default plant spot. But remember, BDS still have 3 players alive, and Bride's in a great position. Ooh, nice shot there from Virtue to take out the Gas Babe. 45 seconds left, and as I was saying, Bride still has the ability to go below and deny the default plant. Ilems is already there, and he's a player with a C4. So, G2, you have to step it up. You can't go for a passive plant here. You have to commit. Is this pick going to happen? Virtue goes down. Kanto and Citizen trying to push Shaiko. They finally punish him, but at what cost? It's all on Citizen now for G2. 20 seconds. Now he does have time, but everyone is down. Kanto steps up, but he gets finished off. It all happened in a flash. They didn't need the whole time, and there you go. BDS to go up on their defensive half, 4-2.
Oh, I've got to wonder there, what took Kanto so long to get up? Maybe he was moving through the doorway to get just tucked into the left-hand side there so he couldn't be killed if someone did push him from construction. But ultimately, with 2 down and a 1 versus 2 to do, it's a lot to ask for. 4-2 the scoreline at the half, and we've already broken that 7-1 curse that many came to expect from BDS. However, they are the ones in the driving seat, but they are going onto the attacking side, and who knows how much G2 are going to be able to slow them down. Going back into that first half for a quick second for G2, we clocked the lack of drones. We clocked the lack of speed at certain parts where it was required. That final round was maybe a little bit quicker than we were used to coming out of them, but outside of that, I would say it's been more of what we saw a couple of days ago, and it seems to be an issue with them on the larger maps that are more strategy-based. Things do slow down a lot in comparison to maps like Coastline, where they were trying to plant inside 2 minutes of every single round.
Makes you wonder the purpose of this Legion down here. It's not once that they try to play them off them. And we didn't really see any plays from G2 that would have taken advantage of the fact that there was no Legion, like no cheeky little sneak in through this angle or whatever. I'm still a little bit confused about that one. Not to be critical at all, it's just obviously G2 knows what they're doing, but it makes you wonder. They could have banned anything. They left Maestro on the board, for example, Smoke on the board, which are operators that they are not bringing here on their defense, but BDS made very effective use for on theirs. So perhaps if G2 had banned out one of those, they would have had a bit more success at countering BDS's primarily anchor-centric playstyle. But nonetheless, I digress, and we move on to this round. For G2, a fairly unorthodox lineup here on this downstairs bomb site. They're going for a heavy roam. SSG strat in theory, but maybe some unfamiliar operators. No Castle, no Mozzie, but we do have the Mute and the Vigil with some information gathering to boot in the Pulse and the Valve. The former is taken out after getting 1 kill, but it's Shaiko gone down. So that's some hard breach and, of course, that Nuts player. Good stuff for Uno, even though he was traded.
You'll be more than happy as a defender there. Yes, you got traded, but taking out an attacker and a crucial one, not just in Shaiko for his gun skill, but also because of that operator. I absolutely agree. The big kind of saving grace for them in my mind is the fact that these hatches have been left soft, sorry. So I wouldn't have to worry about trying to get them open. But it does mean instead that they are without some utility. Not a massive concern either because there is no Jaeger on side, so no need for the anti-nade that you're so used to seeing come out of most teams.
The real question for me on G2's defense here is why the alibi over the Smoke? Pengu is currently holding Dirt, which is Smoke's home turf. It is impossible, in most cases, to take out a Smoke playing here in Dirt. But Pengu's using those Prismas. Perhaps he's playing it for the impact grenades onto Kitchen Hatch and just using those Prismas to help out a little bit. Now, one of them was at bottom main stairs and one of them was in Dirt. Didn't catch where the third Prisma was, but this roam is still very much prevalent for G2. Kanto keen to find the skill here onto Ilems. Does some damage, but loses his life in the process. 4 versus 3 now. BDS have regained that numbers advantage, but half the round gone, running a little bit low on time. Using the concussions to make sure there's no one playing in oil pit. Maybe a bit of a waste of utility, but let's not forget, G2 still has this Roma in Virtue.
Wonder if the Legion comes down to the impacts. I'm not sure. Oh, that screams to me as the reason why, right? That's why they're bringing on the Alibi as a replacement, so you have 2 sets coming through on the current defensive side. Maybe knowing that on the side of BDS, that was never really going to be a thing for them in the defensive side of the first half. God knows.
What?
Either way, we do know one thing is that Pengu's going to find a lens for a wondrous angle down through oil there by the looks of it. Almost finding himself naded out, but still going to find himself alive for now. Now it's down to G2 for a bit of a cheeky flank. It's Virtue coming from above on the mute of all operators here. It's a 2 versus 3, and G2 are the ones in firm control.
All I care about right now is seeing Pengu get kills with the ACS-12, but his team isn't giving him the opportunity. Brudet, the last man standing, and he'll get caught off from a million angles at once. G2, it was very unorthodox, it was very G2, and they made it work.
Well, it just kind of shows some tactics, like I said, behind the Legion ban, potentially. Just meant that they couldn't be impeded by that. Again, I'm still with you as to why it wouldn't mean the results of a Monty coming along, but it is what it is. That's what we'll leave it at. Gym and bedroom going to be the next site we head to, seeing that Kai being brought alongside the Bandit potentially, and I love seeing Mirror on this site. Looks like we're going to see Pengu bringing that one along here as well. We know how frustrating that can be when you stack up both of those mirrors out towards the west wall, on towards Jacuzzi, and see what the other side can do. But you know what? Pengu decides, I don't want to be playing that very stationary style of mirror window. I prefer a more mobile one. And so they go over to playing the Clash instead. So a lot of electrification coming through on this team.
I always love to appreciate G2's ingenuitive strategies and their flexible playstyle. I know it's the G2 vision is we don't have support players and flex players and frag players.
Not with this lineup.
No, you have 5 flex players, and we see that right now. In fact, I'm going through every single operator, every single player on G2 right now is playing a different operator to what they brought last round. In fact, there is no overlap of operators whatsoever. G2 bring 5 operators to the table for round 1, and an entirely different set of 5 operators for round 2.
10 seconds remaining.
And they are called flex players for a reason, I guess. It's not just a whole flex player, it's a flex team. And it's some of the strength that you give. I mean, you look at some players, I mean, even with how, I remember Doki tweeting on Twitter actually when someone was like, oh, why don't you take them to coastline? He was like, are you kidding? Take 5 fraggers to coastline? Are you mad? It's why you see him getting brought along to maps like this. It would have been an absolute slugfest seeing these two go up against each other on a map like that, or Consulate. The club, as we see, is of course the one they are going to duel things out on. Let's see how Gym and Bedroom shakes out though. For now, it looks like you're going to see Pengu playing up towards this west wall for when it does get opened up, and there's not currently any electrification down on that wall. More, I think, just trying to use him potentially to try and block grenades or something so that we don't see the bandits being destroyed. Heaven knows.
Perhaps the Clash is going to try and sit in the drone hole like we saw from Lunar Metal. In fact, that might be it. Yep, he's blocking the drone hole. I love it. It's a cheeky little trick there, and it means that Alems can't get his concussions inside to cancel that bandit trick animation from Uno. You saw it first on APAC, but G2, they've been taking notes, I guess.
Trying to knife the shield out the way. I tell you what, Luna, this is a shout out to you, my brother. Big love for APAC. They can't move him out of the way, so this means nothing can get through to interrupt this electrification. They are at serious risk of wasting so much time if they can't make this work quickly. I wonder if they start burning utility on it soon, because right now, it looks like they're just bailing on it entirely and instead trying to force him out through an alternative angle.
But finally, they do get it open. There you go. Those castle barricades wasted out, and it did soak up a lot of utility for BDS, but they now can deny the bandit trick. Plus, just by a sightline. And of course, all those concussions used up for a lens. Well, one left. He's going to try and use that. I think that the bandit trick might still work. Surely not. Oh, there you go. But there's no more concussions left. Inshiro finally takes down one player. That's Virtue. But this is so much time wasted for BDS.
Why is it always Pengu in these situations as well? The player, the one that's going to be having this big impact in a round, whether it's the strange and quirky plant positions, whether it's the Clash wasting a solid minute and a half in keeping this wall reinforced. And the worst part is, they've got to do it all over again now because this wall inside the bathroom is also reinforced. So it's going to be a case for the attackers to have to swing over to construction side of things to try and make something happen here. It's not ideal as they do not have control of this main hallway, which makes trying to push inside the logistics so damn risky.
Credit to Shaiko, though, he's got control of construction. And of course, G2, one player down and also one gun down as Pengu is playing the shield at the moment. does give BDS an opportunity here. Will they take it with both hands? 30 seconds left, and they rotate into construction for Shaiko. They need to step it up right now.
Attackers have recovered.
Shot comes through. I thought it was a headshot. Sorry from Brida into Citizen knows he's crouched down at the back of sight. Brida is more than happy to say thank you very much. And somehow, despite all this time wasted, the advantage still sits with the side of BDS. It's a 4 versus 2, and Brida is going to commit this plant. Hold down F like a pro and stick it out. It's basically an absolute rollover for the side of BDS. Doesn't matter how much time G2 wastes, BDS are patient and strike while the iron is hot there and completely destroy G2 before they can even adapt.
That clash trick countered the Zephyr really effectively, and while it did eventually get dismantled by BDS and the Jacuzzi wall was open, it took 2 minutes. And so we're in a situation where G2 is sitting there like, okay, we're in a 4 versus 5 because Virtue got picked. There's only 1 minute left for BDS to take this, and they've only just got control of construction. That's G2's perspective on things. They're pretty comfy with that. From BDS's perspective on things, they're looking, okay, guys, 5v4. We finally got this wall open. Let's go. And they only dropped 1 player during that execute. That was so impressive. In the last few seconds, when it was, what, a 5v3, 4v5, whatever it was for BDS, to hold on and manage to force themselves through despite that early disadvantage, really impressive. And, well, G2 is clearly bitten off more than they can chew here, as BDS are very strong on their attacks.
Always about the attacking prowess of the team that I look out for to see how effective they are. It's been a point of conversation today. Earlier on, I asked, how do you evaluate what makes a good team? Is it defense or is it attack? And Pengu even came back himself and was like, always attack. Like, he said it's easy, air quotes, to defend, so surely, Pengu, this should be easy for you. But on defense, it's pretty easy. You can afford to sit in a corner all round if you want to and just hold that corner, and you can win if the attackers don't push fast enough. But on the attack, that's when you have to piece things together. You have to do a bit of a game of problem solving, and it's all about pacing and timing. It is often on attack where we see teams start to slip up. So far, BDS pretty unrelenting. However, it has only been a couple of rounds. So let's see how this third round goes. We find ourselves on the downstairs for the first time. The last couple of sites have indeed been on the top. Sorry, we're heading into Cash and CCTV. A couple of rounds ago was downstairs. The last round, of course, was in gym and bedroom. First one to G2, second to BDS. This is where we get to see that kind of swing in this best of 3 on the defensive side to see if it becomes match point for BDS or if G2 start the fight back.
With that Maverick band, of course, BDS will have to do Thermite and Thatcher business, and the band is ready to trick.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Pengu here, waiting for the concussion to come through. It does affect him, doesn't affect Uno. The second one does, however, and the Thermite charge goes off.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
BDS do have that key wall, that little tick box checked, but Kanto, as you're suggesting, is very close here. Droned out, takes out the drone. Is he fragged? The info is there for BDS, but Kanto holds his ground. Takes out a second drone.
Yep. His whole objective is just, how long can I make you sit here around storage? How long can I make you worried about a jump out? How long can I keep you off that wall? And the answer so far is, well, quite a while, Kanto. Good job. You can retreat in peace, happy that you've completed your mission. 90 seconds down, and it sounds like they have at least got the breach open for now, so aren't in an awful spot, and they do have control of the balcony too, so aren't too concerned with having to worry about a Jaeger jumping out on them downstairs. The biggest fear is you're going to see exactly the same thing we saw out of Rafal earlier on, holding on the catwalk in towards the window. However, he's gone. Did he challenge that? He must have. They must have traded. Wow, okay.
Wow, and in fact, G2 are continuing to challenge here, and that allows Uno to retake Garage, but not for long there. Kanto get the refrag as well. What is this mess? God. We're in a 2v2 now. And a 2v1, maybe not. I don't know. I'm a bit overzealous here. Finally, the 2v1. Shaiku wins that one. All on Citizen. Here, the Vigil. 1 versus 2. Lit up. Pushing up through Red Hallway. Such a difficult spot to be in. BDS have the time. It's their 2 best players here to clutch it up here against Citizen. But we have seen some clutches from him in the past. Can he repeat the feat?
A lot to ask for, as you say. He's all by himself on red. Swings out on towards Shaiko, but doesn't connect. A killing shot. Does get a bit of damage down. And here comes the plant. There are no C4s, but there are impacts on the side of Citizen. And he's got it all to do here. Going to try and find his way around the corner. Goes for a spray through the bomb, but no. Rede is 2 heads up. And once again, the import from Vitality continues to impress. This guy is looking phenomenal so far in this season of the EU League.
Everyone's talking about G2 Super Team, Vitality Super Team. Rogue, Super Team, no. BDS, they came fourth at the Six Invitational. They made one roster change. One player got brought on from Vitality, Brede. And it has been the key in the lock to unlocking BDS's success. So far, in the European League, no losses. He's on 12-4 playing hard support right now. He's playing Smoke and Thermite, and he has a 3.0 KD right now.
Good Lord, man. Yeah, for the longest time, it was Booncy, and he was kind of regarded as the big smoke main in the region, at least in the Nordics. And then you see Brede doing things like this, and it is nasty. Every single time I see a mute or a smoke main just kind of popping off and doing these kind of things, I'm like, I wish I could control the gun that way, but I know full well I will never be able to do so. 6-3, BDS at match point. It's not quite 7-1, but it's looking like a 7-3 over G2. And many will probably start saying if that is the best challenge a team can give, just 3 rounds to be taken away from them on their stomp towards 4 wins, 0 draws, and 0 losses. What team can stop them? You might look to maybe say Rogue at some point, might be able to upset the apple cart, I think. But with how things are shaped up so far, it just doesn't feel likely. Like, they beat Vitality, they've beat Chaos, they beat Secret, they're about to beat G2. Interestingly, on Monday, they face up against Rogue in that game I mentioned, and then they have Virtus Pro and Temporal waiting for them as well. So it's gonna be spicy, right? I look down that list and I think, realistically, Rogue are the only team I see beating BDS. Who else can stop them?
Big questions here. BDS in such good form right now. And they could well come away from EUL in this stage with a flawless half. Or flawless just campaign, I guess.
Yeah.
Through the European League. But of course, G2, they won this defense last time here on Church and Arsenal. Actually completely changing their operator lineup once again. Going for something a bit more normal. No more Alibi, no more Vigil, no more Pulse. But still, pretty typical for this bottom floor. Let's look at how BDS take this one. Good progress so far with the stock hatch open. Only 50 seconds down. So, again, really good time management here for BDS. But it'll really be those final moments for G2 that we're looking at. Can those smokes from Pengu be effective? Can the Evil Eyes and the Goyo shields impede BDS on this execute? Because that's where they shine.
I just look at Brede and just think, how do you outshine this guy? Playing on the support, as we keep on mentioning, and doing all the damage that he has done. Shaiko's been quiet this season, and I think he'll be happy with that he isn't the only one being relied on to be the fragger for his team. And I say fragger not by role, I mean more just in the number of kills that are being picked up. Has been a slow start for them, but at least starting to move their way through. Some of those X-Caros get impacted off Church Wall as well, so it will be enough to open up a sight line, but not enough to make a little crouch hole to get through. You see how patient BDS is being here. The drone work is coming in. They are in no rush. They still have 80 seconds to go. But no kills being picked up on either side just yet will probably mean that if this goes a bit too slowly, you'll see it go the same way that G2 did. It comes down to a last-second rush. Normally, that's when we start seeing mistakes being made. It's why we often say that the timer is the 6th man for the defenders, the lower it gets. That's such an easy impact as well once the bottom's been opened up. That'll be all of those X-Kairos gone, and Church Wall most definitely will not be getting opened unless Brede can work some magic.
But about 20 seconds ago, Renshiro got a really nice drone all the way into Church. Virtue, though, does frag him out for it. That's around blue side. Brede to open up this avenue on the Church wall. Now BDS have an opening, but Kanto is waiting on the other side. Virtue as well, getting ingressed by Alems, but Pengu to save his life. 5v3 now. G2 has a solid chance here, but Brede, the man is still up. You can't doubt him out. He's been such a strong player so far, but there's only 25 seconds to make it happen. The numbers are falling. Rafael and Brede to hold on against 4 players from G2. And there you go. G2 do lock it out by the end of it. They've struggled here on the defense, but Church and Arsenal is where they can redeem themselves, but they can't just rely on that. They'll have to defend on some other bomb sites as well.
It was rough because I think the slowness in trying to get Church Wall open and the eventual denial of it being open really played against them there. I think the intent was to get control of Moto, get control of main stairs, drop their way through, and then go for a plant in behind the black box. But impossible when you can't get the Church Wall open. It means you're kind of segued into pushing down a nice long hallway, or you're pushing in through a single door from Moto itself. So uncomfortable for BDS. Well played by G2 to push back there and be so aggressive and good at their denial game. We get to go ourselves back upstairs now in towards CCTV and Cash. And this time around, the mirror will not get 6 picked away. Instead, it will be 6 picked in. we'll see how they can fare off against on this
Defenders,
defense.
protect your bombs from being defused by
I like that from Kanto to tease out the castle, make BDS think that G2 were going to Gym Bedroom, which was the first bomb site they attempted after Church Arsenal previously. And totally plausible looking at the operator lineup with the castle in there in place of a mirror that you would be going to that bomb site. Now for Citizen, a lot of barricades placed on the master side to try to slow down any push from that direction from BDS, top floor and bottom floor. This will just give G2 a little bit of a sound cue if there's a player nearby, if BDS attempt to push this direction. Also just slow down BDS, and I think that that's demonstrating how G2 has slightly changed their strategy here on the defensive side from more aggressive to a little bit more passive, trying to play the time denial game. Wow, very unusual reinforcements from Citizen. This indicates to me that G2 intend to hold bar with quite a significant presence, in particular so that they can C4 late in the round up through either stock or through lounge onto either bomb site.
And they've left the kennels walls soft and electrified the bottom walls into garage. Okay, I mean, they've mirrored it as well. I feel like I've just stepped into a rank game down in Silver or something with how I've seen how my games go so far with these mirror windows. But no doubt there are some big brains. There are definitely big brain players on the go here. Do not worry about that. I'm curious to see how it shapes out because infamously, if you're defending bar and stock, it is such a difficult site to hold for reasons like it is so large. There are a lot of walls around it. They've got to hold onto this with an iron fist if they do not want to concede this one away too soon. BDS, this will be a bit different to them. I think one of the defenses that you might not have ever seen from their side before. So there is going to be work to do, I think. Speaking of work being done, that's Shaiko off the field as Kanto finds the opening kill.
Where on earth was that for Kanto? An important early frag, though, because that's the Hibana gone down and Shaiko no less, but it's happened before, and we've also seen the last time G2 won their Church and Arsenal. First time it was taking down Shaiko. Now this extended strategy here starting to be countered, but G2 do pop that mirror window so that it can't be used by the attackers. BDS have seen this setup and they're deciding to address it head on, with LMs taking control now in bar. But G2 still have that numbers advantage, and I think BDS is still trying to figure out how to take this. Importantly, you mentioned the kennels walls being soft. It actually does prevent make it a bit more difficult for BDS. Like, they need to use soft breach to get that wall. What are you going to do? Sledge it open? You're completely exposed. You can't use your thermite exothermic charges on it. You could try and use the explosions from LMs, but that's some dire utility you can't use then. Oh, never mind. That utility ain't happening at all. Citizen to find that peak. G2 are reading BDS right now, and it is beautiful.
More like BDS just can't read G2. They're just not quite sure how to approach this right now. And they have got themselves upstairs already and got this soft breach open by the looks of it. So they have a way in. But as you mentioned earlier on, you're coming up against 2, 3 C4s potentially here, assuming the Bandit Mirror and the Valkyrie will have them. Can you really afford to just go for a push in here when you know lounge control is not in your favor? The answer is absolutely not. So we'll see what smart inventions they've got here to try and deal with this setup.
We know BDS are good at following the checklist, but are they good at rolling with the punches here? And Shiro to claw things back at least a little bit, but still BDS are at a numbers deficit. And if they execute here in 20 seconds, they can't just reflag it out. They have to come up big. Brade is still up on the thermite. He's in a very difficult position. The jump into CCTV here may well be suicidal. Rafael has the diffuser and Citizen is on for the flank as well. He takes down Renshiro. Brade has to go huge. He finds one, but Virtue trying to refrag. He does. It's all on Rafael now against 2 players from... What is that, Virtue? To flick and finish him off. G2. I love it. Unorthodox strats. You are absolutely discombobulating BDS right now.
Discombobulating, that's a new one. But
you can thank
I think
Tolkien
the word,
for that word.
A nice, long, complicated word is a great way to describe this game. It's going all the way into max time here now, all the way through to the 12th round. You mentioned that unconventional strat. We saw similar stuff coming out of Na'Vi earlier on Villa, opening up all of Master Bedroom. What is that all about? But it worked absolute wonders for them because teams aren't quite sure how to adapt. And this is the kind of thing we're going to start seeing, I think, more in future. In a world where teams are slowly beginning to deal with things like the Goyo shields, the Evil Eyes, whatever else is being thrown in their way, teams are generally responding very well. How do you upset that apple cart? Just completely surprise them and bring something new that they have barely seen before. And I love that we're seeing all this innovation coming out this week. Gym and Bedroom going to be where we head to here potentially for the final site. And you see that clash 6 picked away. This means to me at the very least there's a slight change in tactic here. G2 are playing the mind games here with BDS and keeping them guessing at every single turn.
I want to know how many more crazy pocket strats Shaz and Sua have in the book here for G2, because it works. I mean, they whipped out a Tachenka at SI, and it works. They whip out a strat like that, and it works. And here, once again, they change off the Clash and bring the Mirror instead. They didn't win this defense last time around, and BDS have looked strong, but there's an opportunity here for G2 to tie it up.
5 seconds remaining.
All right. A hold in logistics is going to be. Construction, clearly not a room they want to concede. This is where we saw BDS with a bit of aggression earlier on, attacking in towards this site. They pushed their way through, and despite not being able to get control of West Wall and to Jacuzzi and find their way inside of the hallway, they were happy to make construction their own and use that as their push. So what have G2 done? They've adapted and said, no, this is ours. And thank you very much, Easy, pointing out a wonderful single floor. I say it might be double floor. Can we go down a floor, Easy, and look inside a kitchen for a second? Is it a double or just a single? I think there's one at the top side as well, right?
Yeah.
No, that's a shame. Yeah, there is. Sorry, underneath the bottom of it. So yes, you can play in the default spot as if you were playing on the site downstairs and shoot up through both of those. We've seen Na'Vi do this, I believe. I want to say in Tokonami, I can't quite remember, but I've definitely seen Nello been playing that angle before. It is filthy because it is so hard to contest those angles without an absolutely perfect angle all the way down. That, wrapped in with the fact that you, of course, have the mirror window playing here, just means there's 2 or 3 guns at any given time being pointed in that general direction. Good luck trying to deal with that.
Really good time management here for BDS, though. The Jacuzzi open in only 50 seconds. That said, Uno is still in a strong position to bandit trick NEX Kairos, but attempt to take out his mirror window. And Kanto also aggressively playing in office with Virtue to refrag to prevent BDS from dropping down the Logi hatch. You can see for the most part, G2 are just heavy stacking site. They only leave Citizen to try to contest Cash for as long as he can. Remembering that previously, oh wow, that's actually so good there from BDS. They play the vertical game to take out that mirroring window from Uno, and that makes this so much more difficult to play for the Bandit.
That room is soft, of course, so you can destroy that floor underneath. We have seen some players play underneath with C4s, and as soon as the push comes into that area, bam! C4 from underneath, 1 or 2 dead, attack over. Still, this has been another relatively slow start for BDS. We saw this on the downstairs earlier on, where they kind of paused mid-round. They got open what they needed, and then they were like, right, how do we deal with this setup coming out of G2? We're not quite sure. And it pulls things all the way down to the wire. We're into the final 60 seconds of play between these 2 teams, and Renshura is going to kick things off with a kill onto Uno.
Virtue under the pump here as well, trying to play this mirror window in Logi as long as he can to prevent this construction push. BDS, they didn't have to deal with this last time, and once again, we'll have to see BDS adapt. Pengu to hold, and that's the diffuser down in Gym. 35 seconds remaining. Brudet is down. Can G2 hold on for another 30 seconds to tie this up?
Oh, stop looking. It's Pengu with a double kill once again. Always in these big spots. It's him finding the kills. It's a 3 versus 2, and here they come. Shaiko from construction once more. Might have just turned this around. Turns around and finds the third. What is that? How does he do it almost all the way? It's a 1 versus 1. Virtue versus Rafale. Plant is going down. There won't be enough time for Virtue, but can he swing this one back? They've got to find each other. It's going to be coming to head inside a hallway, and all that's left from Virtue is to go aggressive here and go pushing outside onto Jacuzzi. Can he do it though in time? He's got about 25 seconds as that diffuser waits for no man indeed. He knows where it is, but has no idea where Rafale is right now. He must know this diffuser's coming through. He's going to swing in, finds the kill, and BDS will close it 7-5. G2 was so close, but BDS will be defeated by no one as they go 4-0.
Unbelievable. That's what that was from BDS. Shaiko and Rafale to hold it in an unbelievably disadvantageous position, but Shaiko to go nuts with 3 kills. He almost got the 4th, but no, it wasn't even needed. You can trust Rafale to hold that one.
Thank you so much, guys. Yes, a hell of a game. I know I'm not in Australia, but I could hear James screaming all the way from there. I'm sure you could, Jess. Let's put this into everybody's perspective, okay? First of all, congratulations to BDS. Undefeated. That clutch was absolutely insane. That's what Shaiko does. Crazy plays from them. G2 more than doubled the rounds that BDS has lost so far. So close to a tie, but even G2 could not do it. BDS, what? How? Just please, let's start with the first half. I'm trying to get everything in my head because there's so much to unpack in this, and we only have so little time. Jess, BDS started off on defense 4-2. It's Clubhouse. That's completely fine when you look at it. But what was really happening during that first half?
I think for BDS, a big strength for them was their shield placements, for example. I mean, they weren't outlandish, and they had shields to block bandit tricks, for example, which I thought was really nifty. They banned the Mavericks so that they could bandit trick, which I thought was really smart. They didn't get too many successful ones with them. In fact, G2 was even more successful with the bandit and Kaid tricking. But it goes to show they were aware of all the angles. They had shields to block those angles, and it was a smart, calculated play by BDS. Really impressive on that first half. And like you said, that scoreline's very indicative of what you would expect.
And then talking about shields, when the bans came through, there was a Legion ban to come down. From the likes of G2, there was no Monty ban from BDS, something we expected to happen, and there's no Monty being played. I was absolutely stunned. I was absolutely certain a Monty play would come through. But like, besides that, there was so much more that G2 could have gotten out of their attacks. Like, for some reason, they went in for these plans time and time again with a 5-on-5 situation, but they weren't ready for an after plan yet, so BDS could quickly respond, go for the retake, and make that successful time and time again. And also a lot of poor used utility. In round 6, I counted a team kill with a grenade, then a concussion onto the player onto the balcony, and after that, like, impacts being used in positions where impacts didn't have to be used. So, like, there was way more that G2 can get out of that first half.
Yeah, well, on the second side, though, BDS were so good at responding to G2 trading so well. You finally get the opener, Jess, but it's not enough.
I mean, like, G2 were taking a lot of the opening kills in their defensive rounds, which you would generally think, oh, sweet, that lines a team up to be really ready to take that round. But the moment they took the kill, if you guys go back and check the kill feed, almost instantaneously BDS turned around and said, trade. Next kill, trade. It didn't matter what player they picked off. BDS said, no, we've got someone waiting in the background ready to trade them. And that is pure coordination. Their attacks also so coordinated. It blew my mind how good they are and how consistent they've been.
Yeah, and that coordination definitely put Kento off his guard. He wasn't able to really do what he wanted to, but there comes the flexibility of G2, of course, because in these first 3 rounds in the second half, they weren't really able to get their marks down. They went for a little bit of a role swap. After that, the confidence seemed to be coming back. They seemed to be able to go for a comeback and put the draw 2 up on the name, but, well, then Shaiko happened.
Oh.
Yeah, one thing to highlight is that G2 pushed BDS to the edge and adapted so well. You know, we talked about those role swaps. This is what G2 is known for. It's not just 1 or 2 players. It's everybody making this decision together to say, okay, let's swap what's necessary and make the right adjustments for the moment. And it was great. But again, how well can you count for Shaiko? Undefeated still are BDS. Let's pull up that rankings board. I'm sure everybody's so happy to see that now. #1 team in Europe, 12 points. Ooh. That's huge for BDS, undefeated, but got so close to that tie today. Rogue at 6 and Virtus Pro at 6 themselves, not too far away, but Rogue will be playing right after this. Chaos, their opponents, only have 1 point in the league. I don't know how this is going to go. We're going to break it down, and that's right after the break. Chaos versus Rogue.